Have you ever used ChatGPT and just stopped and thought, how on earth does it do that? It really feels like magic, doesn't it? Well, today, we're going to pull back that curtain. We're going to see exactly how this AI that is changing, well, pretty much everything, really works.
You know that feeling, right? You're staring at a problem, maybe it's a piece of code, maybe it's just a blank page, and you are completely, totally stuck. It's that awful feeling of just hitting a wall where you've tried everything you can think of, and you are just desperate for a breakthrough.
For anyone who codes, this is the absolute nightmare scenario. But what if there was a tool that didn't just give you an answer, but acted like this infinitely patient expert explaining why it's the right solution? Well, that's exactly the promise that a new kind of AI brought to the table.
So to really get this, let's dive into a classic developer's dilemma.
Okay, so let's meet John. He's a software developer, and right now his program is just riddled with bugs. He's been all over the internet, he's checked all the forums, and honestly, he's starting to doubt every line of code he's ever written. He is completely out of ideas. And then a friend suggests something new, this AI called ChatGPT. And here's the real game changer. It doesn't just spit out a fix. No, it walks him through the entire solution, step by step, explaining the logic behind every single change. This isn't just a quick fix, you see. It's a way to actually learn.
This whole experience just blew John's mind. And he wasn't alone. The entire world was captivated. But a tool this powerful, it didn't just appear out of thin air. It's actually the result of this shockingly fast revolution in artificial intelligence. So let's break down that name, GPT. It stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. Generative because it creates new stuff. Pre-trained because it has already learned from this gigantic library of information. And Transformer, well, that's the special sauce. That's the engine, this brain-like network that lets it understand context and the relationships between words. And these models were all developed by the folks at OpenAI. Now just look at this timeline for a second. The speed here is just wild. In 2018, GPT-1 was a pretty cool experiment. A year later, GPT-2 was getting good at, guessing the next word. But then in 2020, GPT-3 comes along and it's this massive leap forward. Suddenly, it could translate, it could answer super complex questions. The progress wasn't just step by step, it was explosive. So that brings us to the big question, right? How does it actually do all this stuff? Let's pop the hood and take a look. Because when you use it, it really does feel like it's thinking. It feels like it actually understands you. But what's really going on inside that digital mind? Okay, so at its heart, ChatGPT is what we call a large language model, or LLM. Think of it less like a computer program and more like this enormous digital brain that has basically read the entire internet. Books, articles, chats, you name it. And by doing that, it's not just memorizing things, it's learning the incredibly complex patterns and connections of human language. And here's the most important part to get. It isn't thinking the way we do. Really, it's just playing the world's most advanced game of what comes next. When you give it a prompt, it just calculates the most statistically likely word to follow. Then it adds that word and does the whole thing all over again, word by word by word, until it's built a complete answer that makes sense. It's a prediction engine. So how did it get so smart? Well, it's a two-step dance. First, there's pre-training. This is where the AI is basically let loose on the internet to learn on its own. Imagine a student reading every single book in the world's biggest library. But then, and this is key, comes fine-tuning. This is where human teachers step in. They review its answers, they give it feedback, and they guide it to be more helpful, more accurate, and, not say weird things. It's like going from being book smart to being world wise. Here's a good way to think about it. The transformer part, that's the engine. It's what lets the AI understand the deep meaning of what you're asking. The language model, well, that's the driver. It's all the knowledge it has from its training. So you put that powerful engine together with an expert driver, and boom, you get these incredibly human-like responses. Okay, so we've covered the how. Now for the fun part. Let's look at what this tech can actually do out there in the real world, way beyond just helping coders. I mean, the uses are just staggering. For developers like John, it's a coding sidekick. For a business, it can run customer service chatbots that actually feel like you're talking to a person. It can draft your emails, brainstorm marketing ideas, help you plan your vacation, or even be a creative partner for writing a novel. The versatility is just incredible.
And that brings us right back to our guy, John. He's not staring at a wall of bugs anymore. Now, he's got an assistant that helps him solve problems faster, learn while he's working, and focus on the really creative, fun parts of his job. It's completely transformed his entire workflow. But, it's not perfect. Like with any huge new technology, it's so important to have a balanced view. We need to understand its incredible strengths, but also its very real limitations.
Because even a tool this powerful has what you call an Achilles heel. It's not a magic 8-ball, and it's so crucial to understand where it can fall short. This chart really lays it out. On the one hand, its strengths are amazing. You get accurate answers, you get creative ideas, and you get them in seconds. But on the other hand, you got to remember its limits. Its knowledge isn't up to the minute. It's pretty much frozen in time from when it was trained. And because it's a word predictor, not a super calculator, it can sometimes mess up on logic or just make stuff up. We call that hallucinating. It's a powerful tool for sure, but it's not infallible.
But even with those flaws, the takeaway is pretty clear. Its ability to give us accurate, creative, and really complex answers almost instantly, well, that's nothing short of a revolution. And that leaves us with one last thing to think about. We now have a tool that can answer pretty much any question we can throw at it. So the real challenge kind of shifts to us, doesn't it? If the AI can find the answers, our job is to start asking bigger, better, and more creative questions. So what will you ask?